We all know that aging is a given. Anybody doubting that one, or still challenging that? Like, I'm gonna live forever. However, becoming frail is not a given. There's a definite process for aging with vigor and vitality. It takes focus and intention and is not on something on most people's radar. However, once you master it, you'll be well on your way to not only feeling better today, but thriving tomorrow and beyond. The process you'll learn today helped our speaker, Ramona Remesat, regain her health and vitality after suffering from small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, also known as SIBO. Not only did she beat SIBO, but she remained SIBO-free for over 3 years, despite having an autoimmune form of the disease, which is typically causes chronic relapse. So please join me in welcoming herbalist and former SIBO patient, Ramona Remesat.
It's important to get that former in.
Former, yes.
Hello, everybody. You know what? It takes guts to get up and speak in front of a room full of people, and it takes guts to speak about things they might not want to hear. And that's that it takes guts, or more specifically, healthy guts, to live life with vigor and vitality, especially as you get older. And in the next 12 minutes, I'm going to share the exact steps that I took to regain my own gut health after a lengthy battle with SIBO. And when you leave tonight, you'll be able to use them as well to not only experience better mood and metabolism, but to avoid many of the chronic diseases of aging and feel better than ever. These days, we are living longer than ever before, but we're doing it with a significantly decreased health span, right? Nursing homes are full of residents who are frail, they're cognitively impaired, they're suffering from multiple chronic diseases. And I'll bet that you might have a parent or other family member who's currently facing this reality today. And I'll also bet that you certainly don't want to find yourself in their shoes someday. Am I right? I have a saying, aging is a given, becoming frail is not. And it all starts with growing the garden in your gut. So what the heck is a gut microbiome anyways? It is all of the microbes that live in your digestive tract, and they're things like bacteria and virus and fungi, and you can think of it like a garden. I brought this lovely visual aid. And what do you think is the number one thing that makes a garden flourish? You can go ahead and yell it out.
Soil.
Anybody else?
Water.
Come on. Okay, those are all really good answers. And you almost all got it right. One person did. The thing that makes a garden flourish isn't what most people think, but a healthy garden is one that is an ecosystem that is made up of many varieties of microbes. And so what we want in there is to have a high number of the beneficial microbes, a low number of the pathogenic microbes, and an appropriate amount of the opportunistic microbes. Because what happens when you don't have enough good guys, the bad guys take over and the opportunists join in, and before you know it, your beautiful garden is full of weeds. And we call this dysbiosis, and that's where I found myself in March of 2018. I was sitting in the chair at my naturopath's office explaining all of the symptoms that I'd been having, and I was saying, I don't know what is going on, but within 90 minutes of eating anything, I am so bloated. I look 6 months pregnant. My abdomen is rock hard. It's painful. And I'm either running to the bathroom or nothing is going on. And she looked right at me and she's like, I think you have SIBO. I was like, SIBO? What the heck is that? I'd never heard of that before. And she's like, well, it stands for small intestine bacterial overgrowth, and it's when you have too much bacteria in your small intestine where it shouldn't be. So I'm like, immediately, well, how do I get rid of this? And she's like, well, there's some options. And then she kind of got really serious. And I was like, uh-oh. And she's like, it's not going to be an easy fix. Getting rid of SIBO can take a year or longer. So I prepared myself. I'm like, okay. And do you want to know how long it actually took? 5 years. 5 years from my diagnosis until I started to feel really, really good again, which was 5 years of basically feeling traumatized every time I needed to eat, 5 years of not being able to eat what I wanted, when I wanted, or how much of something I wanted, 5 years of basically becoming a social recluse because it was just too difficult for me emotionally to be around other people who could eat and drink what they wanted. And in that 5 years, I learned that you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And you really don't appreciate your gut health until you lose it. But let's face it, gut health is not sexy, right? It's not even remotely interesting to most people. Maybe not me, but most people. I mean, okay, so when was the last time you woke up and the first thing that came to mind in the morning was, what am I gonna do for my gut health today? Probably never, right? So today is the day that we're gonna change that, and here's how we're gonna get started. Good gut health does not happen by accident. You need to be intentional about it. It's just like fitness. Fitness doesn't happen by accident either. We wished it did, but you need to put in the effort. So the first step to feeling good and to aging with vigor and vitality is to prevent dysbiosis. We want to keep those microbes in balance and not let the bad guys take over. So how do you do that? Well, if we're looking at the gut like a garden, you would never spray weed killer all over your garden, right? But in our modern world, we have 3 things that act like weed killer. We have certain medications, we have environmental chemicals, and we have food additives. So in terms of the medications, obviously antibiotics, right? Just taking 1 round of antibiotics can wipe out a complete species of bacteria. And I'm going to bust a big myth right now, and that's that you cannot reseed your gut by taking a probiotic. When a species is gone, it is gone for good. And the only way you can bring it back is through a fecal microbiota transplant, which is where they take poop from a donor, put it in a pill, and you take it, or through breast milk. So if neither of those sound very appetizing, then you're definitely going to want to protect the species that you already have. Now, granted, there are times antibiotic might be necessary, so speak to your doctor, ask if there is something maybe less broad spectrum that you can take, look at herbal options, right? But really, really weigh those pros and cons. Another medication that is dangerous to our guts are proton pump inhibitors, or PPIs. And these are acid-blocking medications commonly given for things like acid reflux and heartburn. And in Canada, 1/3 of all prescriptions written are for PPIs. And what most people don't know is when they are taken long-term, like they usually are, they act just like an antibiotic. And in one study, they gave PPIs to children. 56% of them developed SIBO after just 12 weeks, which is really, really sad. But it is not just the pharmaceutical medications we need to think about, it's also natural products. So for example, the herb berberine, it's called nature's Ozempic, and it is very helpful for metabolism, but it should never be taken long-term. It is really a powerful antimicrobial and does kill off beneficial species in the gut. So yeah, consider that. And then we have, where are we here? We also have to consider, sorry guys, I got so excited about that. There's citrus seed extract and grapefruit seed extract, which considered natural products, but are so potent. Like they're super potent that they're actually stronger than clindamycin, which is the strongest antibiotic that has the biggest impacts to the gut. So then we have the world we live in, environmental chemicals, right? We have glyphosate and pesticides in food. We have triclosan and phthalates in scented products and personal care products. There's bisphenol A, which is in food and beverage containers, dental sealants. It's the coating on paper receipts. And then there's the lovely food additives, things like artificial sweeteners and food emulsifiers. So you're going to want to get really, really good at reading food labels and avoiding things like sucralose and aspartame and saccharin, and especially the sugar alcohols. So sorbitol, erythritol, xylitol. And in terms of those food emulsifiers, run away from carbomethylcellulose and polysorbate 80. So quick recap, we are not going to spray a weed killer on the garden in our gut. But that's not all we need to do to ensure a healthy gut. If we really want it to thrive, we need to feed it. We want to feed the garden in your gut. So that is step 2. And sorry again, the healthiest people in the world with the best guts have hundreds and hundreds of species of bacteria in their gut. Do you guys want to know how many the average Westerner has? 160, if we're lucky. And each microbe eats a specific thing. So if we want to have lots of different microbes, we need to eat lots of different things. So if you don't eat certain foods, or you are cutting out entire, food groups, you could be killing off keystone beneficial species in your gut. And like I said, once they're gone for good. So eating a wide range of colorful plant-based foods each and every week is the way to ensure a healthy gut. And so you're going to aim to eat more fruits, veg, nuts, seeds, whole grains. These are things like quinoa and buckwheat and farro, right? And of course, your lentils, beans, peas, lentils, all of that. And I'm going to give you a challenge to make it fun. Okay, you ready? Okay, your goal is going to be to eat 30 different plant-based foods each and every week. Okay? And once you eat something once in a week, you can't recount it. So you can do what we do in my family. We make it a contest. Because then you start getting really, really intentional with your diet, and you're not eating on autopilot anymore. But I know, okay, groceries are expensive. 30 plant foods is a lot. So honestly, do the best that you can, right? Do the best that you can. The idea is now that you're thinking about what you are eating and not just getting the same thing week after week after week. Remember, a healthy gut is a diverse gut. So you can try to each week eat something you've never eaten or that you rarely eat, right? Or maybe start looking at recipes from other cuisines that have ingredients that you don't normally eat. You can eat with the seasons. Another really good way to add more beneficial species into your gut is to swap out the varieties. So if you're always eating gala apples, try a Granny Smith, try a Yellow Delicious, right? If you're always, for citrus eating mandarins and clementines, try blood orange, right? The same thing goes for veggies. There's so many kinds of peppers, so many kinds of potatoes, different kinds of onions. And why do we want to do that? Because a healthy gut is a diverse gut. And same thing goes with grains. If you find you're constantly eating white rice and brown rice, well, hey, swap that out. Try red rice, try black rice. Again, try some of those other weird grains that are out there, right? And think about adding more nuts and seeds, right? You can sprinkle those on your yogurt in the morning or on porridge or whatever. I think you guys are getting the idea. But the whole reason I'm belaboring this point is because a healthy gut is a
diverse gut.
You guys are getting it. Yay. Okay, so let's wrap it up. If you want to age well with vigor and vitality today and tomorrow, the 2 things you need to start doing right now are stop spraying weed killer on the garden in your gut and feed your garden. You're going to be extremely careful with medications, even natural products, right? Try to eat organic as much as you can. You're going to choose healthier personal care products and really read labels and avoid chemicals that disrupt the gut. And of course, be intentional with your diet. Really try to hit that 30 different plant-based foods each and every week. So, do you think you can do it?
Yes.
More importantly, do you want to do it?
Yes.
Because it can be very hard to make lifestyle changes when you're feeling good, or to think about the consequences of not making those changes. But I'll remind you, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And if you don't have your gut health, you don't have anything, truly. So now that you know how to age well with vigor and vitality, share it with your family and share it with your friends and get them in on the 30 different plant-based foods every week challenge. And if you want to know more about how to have a healthy gut, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at healing.path.herbals. I've got some cards over there. And I just want to thank you guys all for your time tonight and to let you know you've got this. Yeah.